Okay, good morning. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. This is a screencast to help you get writing for your Amazon Road performance task. Our goals in this screencast is for you to check the foundation, make sure that you understand what the different Amazon stakeholders think about building the road. We're also going to work on writing a claim and then creating an outline for your essay. So here we go. The first thing I want you to do is open up your Amazon Road performance task in another tab because we're going to be going back and forth and it might be helpful to have this up. You should also at this point, in order to continue with this screencast, you should have already read and annotated the Amazonian Road decision. This is really foundational for you understanding what the different groups think. You should also have already completed your stakeholders table. So if you have those two things done, continue on. If not, pause the video, go back and get that work done, and then come back to the screencast when you are ready to go. Okay, so because I can't be there to talk to you about this, I wanted you to take a look at the answer key for the stakeholders table because I wanted you to see what the different stakeholders thought. Now, these are suggested answers. You might have some different details. How they will be affected should be pretty close to the same. The positive or negative factors should be the same. Now, over here, you may not have the same ideas based on what you think is important. So different people have different ideas. So some people might think the international consumer's perspective is really important and not think the indigenous community's perspective is important, or that the Amazonian ecosystem is not as important as the logging companies. That's really depending upon your own beliefs. There's not a right or wrong answer here. So I want you to go ahead and compare your stakeholder table with this stakeholder table. If you have missing items, if there's things that are not in your stakeholder table, you want to make sure that you can add them. You'll notice that there's kind of a balance here between whether or not this would be a positive or a negative thing for the community. So it's not an easy answer to decide whether or not to build the road. Once you've had a chance to compare your stakeholder table key with this table key, we're going to go ahead and move on to writing your claim. Now, at this point, you should have created an answer on the Padlet. And again, where we find that Padlet is over here on step 3. You're going to go ahead and click on the Padlet. The Padlet is going to give you this prompt. Should we build it? And the thing I wanted you to do was to add 3 reasons why. Take a moment to add your answer if you haven't yet, and also just read through a few people's answers. Are people thinking similarly to you, or maybe they're thinking differently from you? All right, go ahead and pause the video and make sure that you have added to the Padlet. Now that you've had a chance to add to the Padlet, we're going to dig into writing your claim. You've really thought about what side it is that you are on, and the claim is going to be your answer to the question. So should the Pucallpa Cruzeiro do Sul Road be built? And there's lots of possible reasons that you may have chosen. So yes, the road should be built. You can take a look at all of those reasons, or no, the road should not be built. And there's a number of reasons of why it shouldn't be built. You are deciding what you think based upon all the information that you have. This is your chance to be creative. It's also your chance to think about, like, what would you do in the situation? You might want to think about it from the different perspectives. If you were somebody from the indigenous community, what might your perspective be? Or if you're from a logging company, how might that perspective be different? So consider all those things before you make your claim. The way that we're going to structure your essay is for you to have an introduction, a claim at the end of that introduction, and then you're going to give the opposing viewpoint of what you had. A number of you were questioning and struggling with picking just one side. So I modified the structure of our assignment a little bit so that you could include the opposite viewpoint of yours, and then you're going to include your viewpoint and then the conclusion. This will make more sense as we go through it. So as we go through writing your claim, this is a little bit different than how we wrote our claims the last time, a little more sophisticated this time. You're going to put the argument that you are making last. So in this example, although some believe the Amazon rainforest should be protected at all costs, others believe the Amazon rainforest holds important resources that could help the economy. What do you think this person is arguing for? Do they want the road to be built, or do they not want the road to be built? Well, if you're thinking about this idea of putting the argument last, this person's second part of their sentence, they are saying that holds important resources that could help the economy. They're saying that they think the road should be built. So that's one way to structure your claim. You could say, although some believe the Amazon rainforest should be, you give the counter argument. Others believe the Amazon rainforest, you give your argument here. A second way to structure your claim could be to structure it like this. The intense debate over the Pucallpa-Cruzeiro del Sol road must evaluate improving the economy versus protecting the environment. Again, what do you think this person is arguing for? Are they for building the road, or are they against building the road? So if you said that they are against building the road, you are correct. In the second part of the sentence here, they are talking about protecting the environment. So you could structure your claim like this and say the intense debate over the Pucallpa-Cruzeiro del Sol road must evaluate versus, and set it up that way. So it is your turn now. I want you to use one of the claims in the examples, or feel free to create your own. After you have thought about your claim, you are going to add your claim into this apply, the writing process, where you're going to just write your claim in here, whatever it is that you came up with. And once you've got it in there, you're going to move on to creating your outline. Okay, you are now ready to create your outline. For this first paragraph, the introduction, you're just going to include your claim at this point. We're going to add some more details tomorrow in class. Ultimately, you're going to put your outline in number 2 in applying the writing process. So you can follow along with me and pause as you're going, or you can watch this screencast and then add it at the end. So the claim is going to be at the end of your introduction. Again, I used the first example here. So I am going to be arguing that the road should be built. And so in this first paragraph, I'm going to talk about the opposite side. So the rainforest is a precious resource that must be protected. This isn't actually what I ultimately think should happen, but I'm giving consideration to the opposite argument because that's kind of an important thing to do as you are creating an argument. So I've got my topic sentence. Now I'm going to go ahead and look in the text. We watched that video at the very beginning. You looked at the map. You looked at the article. You might have found other articles. Think about what details are most important to include. And you want to maybe include 2 details, 2 examples from text, things that you found from doing this project. And then once you've done that, you're going to add a transition sentence. So although the environment is important, it is equally important to evaluate the road's impact on the economy. So this allows my reader to know that I'm transitioning between talking about the environment, and now I'm going to go ahead and talk about the economy and why the Amazon road is ultimately something that should be built. Okay, so the paragraph 3, we're following the similar format, and in paragraph 4, we're not going to have you add anything there. So once you've got your outline done, again, add it here and go ahead and do the exit ticket for today. Thank you so much for listening. Looking forward to seeing you in class tomorrow.